this is Rosie Hardy and Rosie Hardy Gardening. In this video today I am going to talk about plants and seasons and the fact that plants do not grow to months or dates. It is all about seasonality. So what do we mean by seasonality? When is spring? When is summer? Well, you have to look at how mature the plants are, how far back the plants are. And at the moment, at this time of year in the UK, we're at the beginning of March, people expect it because we've just had a wonderful snowdrop season and they expect it to now be spring, but it isn't. We're getting snow, we're getting cold, and that's what you should really be getting. We still have a little bit more of winter. We shouldn't wish that time away. The plants that are looking like this, so all this dead growth on the top and the dead growth there, all protecting what is below the surface, are how they should look at the moment. This is a midsummer flowering echinacea and it should not be showing any growth at the moment. If it was and you're getting all this cold weather, it wouldn't do it any good. But what this cold weather is doing is keeping it dormant, making it aware when it's time for it to spring up and come up into growth. Not all plants start their regrowing back into their season and at the same time. So things that are going to flower early, yes, they'll be starting to come up. Things that flower late will be much later to come through. So please don't go out to plants that are looking really dead and horrible. So something like this penstemon, you know, all of this dead growth, this has been protecting all of the growth underneath there. It tried in the autumn to put on a little bit of soft growth here, and that has also got a bit tinged. You have to wait. You have to learn to have patience with the plants. If you are ordering or you are buying from people and you are receiving plant material that is as green and bushy as this, then it is overwintered inside. May not be heated. These are our own and they're in unheated tunnels, so they will get frost, but they're kept dry. But these are not ready to go out into the garden yet, so you would have to harden them off, and hardening them off will be putting them into a cold frame so that you can shut the lid down during the evening when it's really cold. If it's a cold day, just vent it slightly. If it's a warmer day, you can lift it up, and gradually over 2 to 3 weeks the plant material, the leaves will toughen up and the plant material will be ready to go outside and be able to be in the big bad world of the garden for the rest of its life. So just be aware that things are going to happen like that. It's the same with something like this diascia. Now this is something that's on the nursery. We forgot to cut the top growth off, but that doesn't matter because what will happen is we'll be able to cut it back later. But you can see that it is trying to grow up, but these new leaves that are coming up are purple in colour. That's because they can feel the cold. They're not fresh green like the young contemporary here who's been inside. This has got cold, but it's been dry. This has been wet and frozen, and it's showing it. It's showing it by telling you, I'm cold, leave me alone, let me be. And then once you get through into probably April, but it may not be April, it may be into May before it warms up enough. The season is different every single year. It is not by a date, so you can't suddenly say, oh, on the 1st of March I need to do that. You need to look at the temperature. That is not just the air temperature, that is the soil temperature. You need to see whether the light levels are good enough. Has it been sunny or is it cloudy all the time? If it's cloudy all the time, your light levels are nowhere near high enough for plant material to grow properly. So don't be worried when you see people on Twitter, on YouTube, on, you know, all of the places you can see it, Instagram, etc., all going, oh, I've got my veggies going, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. One, you don't know where they are. They could be somewhere where it's really sunny and warm. They could be in the United Kingdom, which is where I am, but they could have lights, they could have heating. You know, all of that makes a difference as to whether you start things off early. And remember, if you batch sow, your seedlings all catch up. Because as soon as those seedlings are sown at the correct time, they go, woof, off we go, and they will catch up the ones that you did at the beginning. And the ones that you did at the beginning will probably struggle and struggle and struggle. So don't be too much in a hurry to get things done. Wait, look, see what's happening. Has there been enough moisture? Is there enough light? Is the soil warm? Okay, if it is, go out to the plant material. If it's something like an echinacea, you wouldn't expect that to be coming up and showing leaf until late spring. So you can cut away all of the top growth and then you can see the plant material coming through. The penstemons, for instance, you can look at them, they can be really bad. Some of them this year, I think, are really not going to come back from this state, but it's worth waiting to see. If they don't, then replace. You know, don't worry. If you lose a plant, it's not against you. You're not a bad gardener. It's just circumstances. The weather may have been too bad. You may have not had time. Don't worry about it. Think of it as an opportunity to go out and go, well, do you know what? I actually would like to put something different in there. Dig up the old plant, put it on the compost heap, get another cutting, another seedling, and start raising something else and perhaps change what is there. So remember, seasons do not follow the months. Seasons are to do with the weather, and our weather is changing, so therefore our seasons are changing, and that is what we have to look for. Look at the trees, look at the hedges, see if they're coming into leaf. If they're starting to come into leaf and they're looking good, and the grass and all the other, you know, the weeds they're not weeds, sorry, all the other natural native plants that are growing around in the countryside, if they're all starting to come up and looking happy, then it's time for you to be starting to do things in your own garden, and your own garden should be starting to look happy. Other than that, what else should you be looking at? So I'm looking at it from the point of view of a nursery owner. I am looking at my plant material and going, right, this is the time that I need to be doing this. But some of our plants, like these, have a little bit of protection. But shortly, within the next 3 to 4 weeks, we will start to be mean to these and they will be hardened and off they go outside. Because although they've got soft growth here, their roots are hardened. They will be hard enough to go out in about 4 weeks. We should have lost the frost by then. Plant material like this, we'll be going and having a look at. We will be cutting back and we will be potting on so that it goes into a bigger pot. And that way we're looking at it in a different way. From a garden, recreational garden point of view, you are wanting it to look good for yourself. You don't particularly need to be rushing out there and doing everything at once. So just go and have a little look. If your echinaceas are looking like this and it's, say, got to the middle of the spring, then give them a cut back. If you're somebody who likes it all to be tidy, then if stuff is looking like that, cut it back, but don't go right the way down to base level. Leave about 10 centimetres of growth there. One, that lets you know that there's a plant there that you're expecting to re-go. And two, the last little bit of growth that you've left there protects the new stuff as it's coming through from pest and disease, and also from those pesky little snugs and snails, because the old leaf is a little bit leathery, a bit hairy, and they don't really want to push their way through to the nice stuff that's coming there. If you leave all of that nice new shoots coming up and open and exposed, then it's ripe for the slugs and snails to get in. It's ripe for a bit of wind burn and that sort of thing. So leave 10 centimetres of growth there, because another thing is, you know there is a plant there that you want to grow. So from all of this, just remember, if you are in the United States and your USDA zones, then you know what your seasons are meant to be, roughly. But again, they're changing. So look at your weather forecasts. Look at what is happening locally. That is what is really important, because our seasons are shifting. We do not and we cannot now go via the calendar for growing things. Thank you very much for listening. Please do subscribe to the channel.